Hello and welcome to Interpreting Wine's Priceless City's Best New Bistro Awards series. I'm, of course, your host and podcast founder, Lawrence Francis. This two-part mini-series will air on the podcast between episodes 306 and 307, and across these episodes tells a story of the collaboration between Le Fooding and Mastercard in creating a new type of awards taking place simultaneously in London, Mexico City, New York and Paris. We'll hear from representatives of both Le Fooding and Mastercard, taking time to understand their individual history in the culinary space, before discussing how these came together to form the Priceless City's Best New Bistro Award. The voting period for the awards will be open until October 25th, 2019. So if you're listening before that date, do head over to bestnewbistro.com to get involved. And without further ado, here's today's episode. Today's episode of the podcast features Kirsty Redfearn, VP Consumer Marketing and Sponsorship at Mastercard. She gives us an overview of the Priceless City Program and shares some examples of experiences that can be enjoyed. We talk the Priceless City's Best New Bistros Award and the 4 cities that are involved in the inaugural awards, before discussing culinary as a passion category for Priceless Cities, and looking ahead to the awards and beyond. Enjoy.
So thank you. I'm Kirsty. I've been working at Mastercard for the past 6 years or so. Previous to that, I worked in the agency in the creative industries, but I also had a role in working with Mastercard. It means then that for probably the past 10 years, I've been in and around understanding Mastercard's passion for consumers and subsequently our passion for consumers' passions and what that means to be able to bring experiences to life for them. Its experiences are deeply rooted in everything that is priceless and our brand proposition. And we've spent quite a lot of time over the past 25 years building the Priceless brand and understanding that as a lifestyle brand and an ambition to be in and around consumers and what makes them really feel passionate about understanding themselves and the world around them. It makes sense for us to be in that space. Priceless Cities has some amazing consumer experiences on offer. We currently over 2,000 different unique experiences across the globe in 43 different cities, and it's an amazing space for people to travel, explore a city, understand what really makes it tick, and aligns with their passions when they're in that space. Ultimately, creating some amazing priceless experiences and memories for them to take with them. Part of my role here at Mastercard was to help launch the Priceless Cities Program several years ago now. The wonderful thing about Priceless Cities here in London, in acknowledging also the key travel corridor between London and New York, is the wonderful restaurant scene and the wonderful food scene and the culinary experiences we have on offer here. And we know that people, in their desire to travel to and from amazing cities, food is by far one of the most key experiences that we all have and enjoy when we're travelling. Whether or not it helps you understand the local atmosphere, the culture, and whether or not it's just something that you'll enjoy because you don't have to cook. It's a key, I guess, a key passion, but also a key experience. We're quite obviously we're very passionate about experiences being an experience brand. We have some amazing priceless experiences here in London, in particular. Everything from music and a live to vinyl experience at Metropolis Studios, where consumers are lucky enough to be able to witness bands and musicians record live their album or a track straight to vinyl, through to Priceless Theatre evenings with London West End shows, where 50 tickets per evening are available to Mastercard card holders, where they'll not only see the show, but they'll also experiencing something added value, so to speak, so in a beautiful addition to the experience, whether or not that's a Q&A with the cast, a Q&A with the director, or even sometimes we've gone as far to offer experiences like learning how to tap dance. So we've had some amazing experience on offer over the years. The beautiful thing about Priceless is that it adds an extra layer to understanding what your passion is and bringing that to life.
They actually do all sound, super interesting. I think, for me particularly, like the live to vinyl. I think that's something really cool. That again is it's a live experience, but then it's actually then sort of harking back to something physical. And and I know that sales of vinyl and things of that nature are sort of increasing. So that really sort of stands out for me. But I think let's take things forward then and talk about the Priceless City's Best New Bistro, which is the context in which we're sitting down together today. And I know, having already spoken with Christine, we've kind of gotten, I guess, their perspective on what it's about. Why Le Fooding, why they've chosen to sort of, I guess, branch outside of France and sort of spread their net, as it were, at this time. So I'm then super curious then, on your side, from your perspective, what is this kind of all about, and how did it sort of evolve?
Culinary, as we've just been discussing, is a key passion category that we have been looking into and spending some time understanding in a little bit more detail over the last couple of years. It's a fascinating space for consumers because it provides a really interesting, diverse, but also universal truth. It's something that people love doing, and whether or not it's a family context, whether or not it's a business context, people love food. And we're also interested in understanding that it's that the bistro opportunity is a really different, fresh, new, ever-changing, fast-paced, full of new talent, full of new creativity, or people investigating with their curiosity into how to make food a really exciting connection, an interesting space. So, great thing for us about the Priceless City's Best New Bistro is, without a doubt, being able to recognise some of the people who are spending time and energy in this space and allowing us to connect with consumers. The exciting thing about the Best New Bistro opportunity is also the fact that it's easily an opportunity for us to see new trends, new restaurants, new exciting experiences, and that's something that people are always looking for in the culinary space. Culinary is really important to us at Mastercard. Not only is it a universal truth and a passion for consumers, for us ourselves, we can see that something like over $10 trillion US are spent every year on culinary. And that actually accounts for nearly 41% of all of our processed transactions. So it's just a huge industry, which we can see is really important to consumers and is worth us understanding and investing more time and energy in supporting. It is interesting how people engage with culinary in that and this particular passion category, we see the growth of home kits and people being involved in just food as a passion, as an experience. Part of this story for us that's really interesting is not just the universal truth that everybody likes food or it has some a role or a moment in their life, but it's also something that allows us to talk to both men and women on a much more even gender balanced thought process, because we know it's as equally relevant to everybody. Sure. Sometimes some of the categories that we have spent time in the past may over-index on one side or one age, one sector, one interest, one subgroup. But actually, the best thing about culinary is it's much more universal in that space.
As has already come out of the previous episode, we're looking at this award running simultaneously, which I thought was super interesting, but then also in 4 very different cities, London, New York, Mexico City, and Paris. And for me, that there's a kind of 4 interesting major cities, but also sort of lots of diversity. I think that's kind of coming through there in terms of the food that you would, I guess, classically expect to be served in any one of those different cities. So it's just really sort of encourage you to riff a little bit on that, just in terms of presumably that was a part of why those cities were chosen at the outset, and maybe how has that have those perceptions changed and developed over time?
We see a huge amount of people travelling between these 4 corridors in particular. Whether or not they're travelling for business or pleasure, food is fundamental to their experience when they're there. They're definitely for very different cities, very different cultures, very different culinary experiences, but they're also for amazing cities for hotbeds and talent, and we can see some wonderful things coming out of them. We know that the dining experiences that are on offer in New York through the Priceless Cities Program have been an amazing success. We also know that there have been an amazing success here in London as well. So we see quite a lot of interest in people learning how to make pasta, or learning how to taste a gin experience they've never had before, or to make a cocktail in a way that will surprise their friends. They're all opportunities for people to expand their horizons and enjoy the passion.
Culinary is just one of 9 different passion categories that you have here. So, yeah, give us a sense of those, not necessarily listing off all 9 one after the other, but yeah, what are the sorts of the types of, I guess, the types of sort of experiences that have been curated in a sense to kind of draw people into these different categories. But yeah, maybe first off talking about, what are the big ones? What are the sort of memorable ones for you?
We're really quite well known globally for our energy in sport and our efforts to support the passion of sport and that category. For example, everything from Champions League through to Rugby World Cup and golf and various other things in between. Music is another big passion category for us, and here in the UK we spend a lot of time supporting the Brits and the Brit Awards as part of our flagship experience in that category. We also look to support things like philanthropy as a passion category, as we know that in this ever-changing world, having purpose and an important impact on the world means a lot to so many people, so many of our cardholders today, and it's something we're very passionate about. In the cinema category and space, which is incredibly enjoyable and also provides a lot of diversity in the way it brings experiences to life for consumers and what it also brings to the world. So, yeah, interesting. What allows us to understand those passion categories is driven not only by our research and our understanding of consumers, but also from what we can see people are spending their money on, not from an individual point of view, but mainly from the category that we can and the information of the data that we can see. We're understanding that something like a quarter of all travel budget spend is actually on food and beverage, whether or not that's lunch or breakfast or a wider experience-based intent. It really forms a core part of the traveller's budget.
So it's very clear to me about why you've chosen to become involved in these awards at these time, and effectively, which pillars of your customers and what categories and passions that it's actually serving and it's underpinning. So I just really invite you at this time to look ahead and I guess share what is on the horizon for Priceless and its development, and also share how the listeners can get involved.
People can vote. They can visit us at priceless.com to learn more about it, but also the finals in each of the 4 cities and the events that support that will be accessible through priceless.com, so cardholders will be able to come online and register to be able to go, which I think would be an amazing experience for anyone who's interested in understanding and seeing some of this great talent. Mastercard have spent a lot of time in the past couple of years under our CMO, Raja, who's been growing and improving and developing our brand. The most exciting thing about that space is we've been one of the leaders in the industry, but not just our own industry, but within marketing and understanding brand development, to move into the senses, so a multi-sensory brand. We upgraded our logo, and people will be hopefully will recognise our fresh new circles. But we've also moved into the auditory space, so we now have a sonic that associates with our brand. So the idea being then that you're not just seeing us, but you're hearing us. So this multi-sensory thought process is something we're continuing to develop and know that it has real power to show innovation and momentum, but also leaves us in a future-facing space, which is really exciting. The sonic system is an incredibly well thought through structure that starts to really illustrate different ways to bring our brand to life in many different formats, whether or not that's at point of sale and acceptance, so it delivers on the trust and the security for our brand, or whether or not it's a much wider anthem-based, longer form experience of what the sound of Mastercard and Priceless is.
Thank you so much, Kirsty. It was great sitting down with you and fascinating hearing the backstory of why Mastercard wanted to be involved with these awards. As Kirsty mentioned, you can of course vote if you're listening to this before October the 25th. Do just head over on to bestnewbistro.com. Do also head to priceless.com to find out more about the program and where you can find experiences near you. And to hear more about the Interpreting Wine podcast, do head over to interpretingwine.com/listen to hear past episodes and to subscribe. All that's left for me to do is to say a huge thank you to Christine and Kirsty for taking part in this mini-series, which I think shares the real innovation driving these awards. And I'll be super excited to see who wins in all 4 cities. See you next time.